right, Bob. Vibe check.
Vibes are bad. Vibes are bad right now, but it's prisoner of the moment. Yeah, it's a terrible road trip. 2-7. I'm not going to try to paint it as anything other than that. They scored 2 runs on one swing. That was it. It was dreadful. But if you go back to last season in the month of May, they lost 5 in a row. They won 3 in a row. Then they lost 6 in a row, including a series with the San Diego Padres, which they were outscored 31-7. It felt like the season was over. So you, in that span, had lost 11 of 14 games and gotten your tails kicked and weren't even competitive against the San Diego Padres, and that team still won 90 games. So while we're in the moment going, man, this is dreadful, they can't hit, the offense is tanked, it looked worse last year, and they still found a way to win 90. So the message is, it's not over. This is not who they're going to be the rest of the season. It's frustrating in the moment. I'm right there with everybody yelling at the TV, but there's way too much baseball left to look at it and say, this is a team that can't hit, they're going to be terrible.
What's one thing that's giving you hope as they start the homestand?
Their record at home, 7-2 at home. They played really well here. There's a comfort here. As much as I think, I was having this debate on the air about home field advantage in other sports. And, I think football, 1 game a week, 69,000 people in the stands, that's the biggest home field advantage you're going to have. NBA, home court advantage is a huge, huge thing. Baseball, it's a little more spread out. You got 81 home games, so you don't have the stands packed every single game. You don't have that advantage, but there is a comfort, there is a familiarity. And I think that there is something to coming home after a road trip like this that provides comfort and familiarity that can maybe take some of the pressure off some of the guys up there that are gripping the bat really tight and trying to swing extra hard or really trying too hard to find their rhythm at the plate. I think this is going to go a long way in helping some of those guys that are really scuffling.
Who's the most pleasant surprise so far for you?
Most pleasant surprise? I mean, J.P. Crawford's not a surprise. It's kind of a surprise that he's hitting at the level that he's hitting, and I don't expect him to hit 370 all season and have a 450 on base, but his power has been surprising early. Ty France, there's no surprise to that. He feels like a guy, if he's healthy, he's going to hit 300. I'll give you one surprise on the defensive side, and that's been Jared Kelenic. And I know he's polarizing. I know people get frustrated, and his bat looks like it should be in AAA right now, but he's played really good defense in right field. And I think outfield defense is really underappreciated. And I've been impressed with, as much as he's struggling at the plate, he hasn't taken it into the field with him. And you look at the WAR numbers, if you're into those metrics, he's got the best defensive WAR on the team, which is surprising. So that has been a very pleasant surprise in a negative way. The negative is his bat and what's not happening at the plate. But what he's done in the field, I think, has had tremendous value.
You're not surprised by Logan Gilbert and his sub-1 ERA?
No, because he was my pick at the beginning of the year when we were asked to pick our breakout players. I highlighted Logan Gilbert. Did I think he'd have a sub-1 ERA? No, I didn't think that. But he's not surprising because we saw it last year. We saw what he was capable of. The question for him was, could he do it consistently? Because last year he'd have a good month and he'd have a bad month. And then his worst month of the season was August. He had an ERA of about 9.3. And then his best month of the season was in September when the lights were the brightest and all the pressure was on him and he was coming off the worst month and he put up his best number. So Logan's not a big surprise. The ERA is, and I would expect it probably rises above that at some point. But yeah, Kelenic, I think for a young guy that hasn't found it yet, who's really got a spotlight on him, and struggles the way he has at the plate, for him to play the way he has defensively, I think says a lot.
Here's a different one. What are your favorite Mariners games that you've attended live?
Ever? Felix's perfect game was awesome. What else? I'm trying to think of. I was there when Mark McGwire hit a home run off Randy Johnson that just landed about 2 days ago. I was at that game as a kid. That, just had that memory that ball that gets talked about, that hit gets talked about over and over and over. And having been there and seeing that was pretty big. First game in Safeco Field, I was there for that. That stands out. The All-Star game at Safeco Field, not really a Mariners game, but the All-Star game was cool.
We'll end it on this one. Jerry DePota this morning said Kyle Lewis is about 2 to 3 weeks away from ending his rehab and returning to the Mariners. So what are your thoughts on him coming back?
I'm curious. I'm curious, is he going to be a guy that you can play in the field in back-to-back days? Or is he going to be a guy that you play in the outfield one day, then he's a DH for the next 3 games? I don't think any of us understand how serious or not serious the knee issue is. It's lingered, it's been impactful in a really bad way, so I don't really know what to expect from him in the way of availability. You feel like if he's available, he's your best option out there. Or maybe Julio's actually turned into a very good center fielder, so it doesn't feel as dire as it did last year when Kelenic was in center. But I'm curious if he is 100% healthy, Mitch Haniger comes back. What does that rotation look like? I talked about that at the beginning of the year. How do they get everybody their turns, keep everybody in rhythm? Is that an opportunity to send Kelenic maybe back down to AAA to work on what's happening with him at the plate? But Lewis, he's exciting. You know he can do it at this level. We've seen it. Can he be available? That's the biggest question for me.